Welcome back to Matilda Makes, and welcome back to my Christmas 4-part mini-series where I've been making Christmas gifts and Christmas decorations for you to gift to your friends and family, or just for you to have all for yourself. This is the last one in the series, and today we're going to be making something that would make a perfect Christmas gift, and that is felted slippers. I don't have very much experience in footwear, so I haven't made the pattern this time myself. Instead, I'm going to be using this Pearl Soho PDF printable pattern. It's free on their website, so I'll link it in the description box down below. So as well as the paper pattern, you're also going to need some thick felt. I think mine's 3mm. I'm also going to use some synthetic sheepskin, as well as some linen and interfacing for the bottom of the slipper. And you will also need a strong thread and needle. So first things first, we're going to just cut out our pattern. So I have both the man's and the woman's here, and I'm just going to use the woman's today. So put that to the side. So all our pattern pieces are cut out, so we're now going to just pin it onto our felt and cut out. We're going to need 2 of these and 4 of these. Okay, so we have all of our main body slipper pieces. I'm now going to cut out my bottom lining and also my inside wool lining. Okay, so our next step, just take this off, is going to be to fuse our interfacing to our linen, just to make it slightly more sturdy and hard wearing. So we're laying our interfacing down first, and then we're going to pop our bottoms, our linen on. Okay, I think that's pretty good, so we can cut a bit of this off. Okay, so lay a piece of scrap fabric over the top so you don't damage your fabric or get glue on your iron. So everything's cut out, and our next step is going to be to attach the sole to the felt and the lining to the felt. So flip this over onto the wrong side, and we're just going to start by pinning this in place. Like so. Making sure you leave a bit of a gap around the edge. Okay, so that's what it should look like all pinned down. We might have to take more out at the very corners to make it less bulky whilst we're sewing, but for now that's pretty good. So pin both of those like that, and then we're going to go round and hand sew it in place. Okay, so here are two finished top pieces with our fake sheepskin sewn on inside, and they will eventually go up that way. So we'll put those to one side for now. Okay, so the next thing to do is to turn your linen sole over, and we're just going to turn over 1.5 centimeters to make a seam allowance. Just use the tip of your iron. And there. Okay. So that's what you should end up with, a nice, neat sole. And that will be sewn on to here, like so. Okay, so now that we've got those nicely pressed, what we're going to do is to attach them to our felt. Now you can either do this by hand sewing them on or machine sewing. It's really up to you which one you choose, but I would recommend that before you do that you make sure you pin it down really well. Okay, so I've got my machine set up with the right thread. I'm going to set my stitch width and to 2.5 and my stitch length to 3. I think that's probably going to be best. And then I'm just going to sew as close to this edge, the linen edge, as possible without going off. Okay, there you have it. That's your first sole done. So it looks like that. Let's move on to the second one. Okay, so we're on the home straight. The last thing to do is to just assemble everything together. And I've also pinned in place the pattern markings, the numbers 1, 2 and 3 onto the soles and the tops with pins, so I know where everything should go. I'm then going to flip these over because they're going to go that way up. You need to make sure you've got these ones the right way round, so that point 1 is matched up with point 1, point 3 matches with point 3, and so on. And then what you want to do is just start lining your points up and pinning them down. Now, because it's so thick, your pins aren't going to be able to come back up very easily, so the best thing to do is to just put them all the way through to the end like so and leave them like that. So let's put all of the important points together first. And it should start to take shape quite quickly as a slipper. Okay, so that's starting to look like our slipper, and the last thing we're going to do is sew them in place. So let's thread our needle. We will put a knot in the end and we'll just sandwich it in the middle of the layers. So tie your knot. There we are. And we're just going to separate the layers and put it inside, like so, and do a continuous running stitch the whole length. Okay, so that's the first one sewn together. It's quite difficult going through the 3 layers of fabric, so be mindful of that. But let's put that one to one side. I'm going to do this one off camera and then I'll be back once it's done. Okay, so my slippers are finally sewn together. That took longer than I was expecting, and my stitches are not the neatest. So if you are going to make these, take your time over the stitches. I rushed mine a bit to try and finish this video, but yours will look much nicer than mine, I'm sure. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is just neaten up all of the edges. As you can see, we've got some bits that kind of overhang. So I'm just gonna go round like that. Okay, so there we have it. 2 lovely, or a pair of lovely little slippers. These really will make such a nice gift, and keep your friends and family's tootsies nice and warm. There is one thing I'd like to say about the Pearl Soho pattern, which is that this was the largest women's size, and I just feel that maybe it's a bit small, and I may have been better off going with the men's. Especially for slippers, you want something that you can wear socks with and not feel restricted. So I think if I'm a size 7, and I think these will be quite snug on me. So if you're a 7 or up, I would actually go for the men's sizing. And maybe even test that and see if you need to make that bigger. Well, that's it. Thank you for joining me, and if you haven't watched the other videos in my Christmas series, please go and give them a watch. I'd really appreciate it. And if you do make these slippers, remember to tag me in a photo on your Instagram. I'd love to see what you make. Yeah, thanks for joining me. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. Bye.